And joining me in the studio now is Valeria Gонтаревої. She is the governor of the National Bank of Ukraine. Thank you for joining us here on DW. Now, 2015 saw Ukraine's economy slump by around 15%. There's been a slight uptick since. But does the Eastern blockade not threaten chances for an economic revival in your country?
First of all, Ukraine is really right now recovering from the absolutely incredible, very deep recession. You know that in 2014 and 2015, we lost almost 20% of our GDP. And of course, it was caused by all this war conflict, all this blockade of our industrial parts, occupation and annexion of Crimea, and occupation of our eastern part of our country. That's why Ukraine lost more than 20%, but we start to recover. And last year, it was already growth of our GDP, 2.3%. Of course, for us, 2.3%, it's not enough, of course, to grow. We need to grow faster. And this year, our growth forecast was 3%. But because of recent development, because of all this blockade in Donbass, unfortunately, we will lose 1% of our GDP this year. That's why it will be final GDP growth will be just 2%, not 3%. But it's manageable.
All right. Now, the IMF has delayed the payment of over €1 billion in aid, which the country needs. Are they waiting to see how the situation evolves in Donbass?
First of all, we already agreed with IMF new macro data because all this recent development happened only 1 month ago with all this new blockade and new ban of export from occupied territory. That's why, but we already revised our macro forecast. As I mentioned, growth will be 2%. Inflation will be under control. Our forecast for inflation, it's just 9% this year. It's absolutely in line with our expectation. And we do not really very drastic impact on our exchange rate. That's why finally we agreed with IMF all new macro data, and new next board of IMF will be announced soon.
These are very testing conditions still, though, for investors and creditors. I mean, you've had inflation at 12%, now revised down to 9%. The key interest rate last year, 14%. How can you attract investment?
You know, first of all, only a few years ago, in the beginning of last year, we launched absolutely brand new monetary policy. It's monetary policy of inflation targeting. And last year, we reached our target 12%. This year, our target is 9%. Next year, it will be 6%, and after only we will have inflation like a 5%. We have absolutely clear disinflational trend. But keep in mind that our inflation in 2015 was 43%. That's why 9% inflation, for us, it's a very big achievement.
I can see what you've done with your monetary policy, but as we've heard in that report, the currency has hit rock bottom. Many financial institutions are almost bankrupt at the moment due to a lack of capital flow. I mean, was it wise, do you think, then to limit business opportunities for Russian banks? They make up around 10% of the market share in Ukraine at the moment.
First of all, you're absolutely right, but all of us, all these devils happened with us 2 years ago. That's why now the situation is absolutely different. Because we already did asset quality review and stress test of all Ukrainian banks. And these banks already recapitalized their banking institutions. That's why right now situation times better. And of course, you're absolutely right about Russian banks. And Russian banks put on sale their subsidiaries even more than 1 year ago. And right now they're in the final stage. And of course, our main aim to guarantee state Russian banks that they will be they will be under control and without any violence, without any political unrest, and they will leave a market in a very professional way.
But what about the situation for the people in Ukraine? You yourself have said that IMF funding is drastically needed. I mean, people are suffering from these policies.
No, people not suffering because it's a preservation of our macro-financial stability. Macro-financial stability, it's a basement for our growth. Without macro-financial stability, you cannot imagine how the GDP growth, how the better life of our population will be achieved.
Thank you very much, the National Governor of the Bank of Ukraine, Valeria Gонтаревої. Thank you for joining us here on DW and sharing your insights.
Thank you.